Proclaim your nationality today. Nationality is the order of the day. If you do nothing else, proclaim your nationality today. What's your nationality? What's your nationality? What's your nationality? What's your the Moorish News. I am your host, MD Lavelle, and welcome. I have a guest today. My guest is Grand Sheikh Lavelle of the Moorish Science Temple of America as a Body Politic. We are in our convention week. Welcome, Grand Sheikh.
Islam, praise Allah. All praise due to Allah, Lord, Governor, cherisher, sustain and ruler of the world. Islam.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Grand Sheikh. Today, we're going to be bringing to you Moorish News, and we're going to discuss Moorish sovereignty versus Moorish sovereignty versus sovereign citizens. That's what we're going to be discussing today. We have a lot going on here in North America, and we want to make sure everybody get it straight. Moorish sovereignty versus sovereign citizens. To open up the show today, I'd like to read from our Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, divinely prepared by the noble prophet Drew Ali. Chapter 25, A Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nation. We are the children of one father, provided for by his care, and the breast of one mother has given us suck. Let the bonds of affection therefore unite thee with thy brother, that peace and happiness may dwell in thy father's house. And when ye separate in the world, remember the relation that bindeth you to love and unity. And prefer not a stranger before thine own blood. If thy brother is in adversity, assist him. If thy sister is in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortunes of thy father contribute to the support of his whole race, and his care be continued to you all in your love to each other. Thank you so much. I'd like to thank you all for joining us and thank my team, because there has to be teamwork in everything that we do, and this is why unity is so important. I'd like to thank my guest, Sheikh Lavelle, for coming here, and I'd like to read something also from the Holy Bible, King James Version, because we are in fact a part of the whole. And I'm going to be reading from Proverbs 6, chapter 6, verse. Go to the ant, you sluggard, consider her ways and be wise, which having no captain, overseer, or ruler, provides her supplies in the summer and gathers her food in the harvest. Provides her supplies in the summer and gathers her food in the harvest. Now we're talking about an ant, okay? How long will you slumber, O sluggard? When will you rise from your sleep? A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep. So shall your poverty come on you like a prowler, and your need like an armed man. Father, have mercy on us today. We don't need that need like an armed man. Grand Sheikh, I want to have you read from the Quran, please.
Holy Quran.
The Holy Quran
Muhammad.
of Muhammad.
Praise
Peace.
Allah, all praises due to Allah, Lord, Governor, cherisher, sustain and ruler of the world. We give a hail and honors to all true and divine prophets, Yeshua, Some call him Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius, Drew Ali. Also give a hail high honors to Marcus Moses Garvey, the forerunner, also being the harbinger. We're reading today from the Pilgrimage, Hajj. This is Surah 22, verse 5. O people, if you are in doubt about the raising, then surely we created you from dust, then from a small seed, then from a clot, then from a lump of flesh, complete in make and incomplete, that we may make clear to you. And we cause what we please to say stay in the wombs till an appointed time. Then we bring you forth as babies, then that you may attain your maturity. And of you is he who is created, who is caused to die. And of you is he who is brought back to the worst part of life, so that after having knowledge, he does not know anything. And you see the earth's sterile land, but when we send down on it the water, it stirs and swells and brings forth every kind of beautiful herbage.
Thank you so much for that, Grand Sheik. For those of you who are just joining us, I am your host, Assistant Grand Sheikist to the Grand Sheik of the Moorish Science Temple of America. My guest is Grand Sheik Laville of the Moorish Science Temple of America as a body politic. And we are talking about Moorish news. This is Moorish news. And we're discussing Moorish sovereignty versus sovereign citizens. And understand, we are sovereign to the land, and this is what makes us have that Moorish sovereignty. Understand this document here that was filed by Noble Drew Ali, August 1st, 1928 at 2:52 p.m., which is held in Cook County Recorder Deeds Office. This document is, in fact, what has made us have sovereignty to this land. And what we're going to talk about today is how that sovereignty to this land exists, and in fact, what was it that caused Noble Drew Ali to file this document? First of all, coming from Havana, Cuba, and this is the reason why we're celebrating our 89th convention. Moorish sovereignty versus sovereign citizen, and introduction to the Moorish Americans, also the Moorish American Moslems, and the Moorish Science Temple of America as a body politic. Who are the Moors? And who is Prophet Noble Drew Ali? What is the Moorish Science Temple of America? These are some of the things we're going to be discussing, and the Grand Sheik Laville is going to be going into. What are the birthrights of the Moorish Americans, etc.? And the law of nations and the peace and friendship treaty between Morocco and the United States, 1836, which in fact still stands to this day. Creation of the Moorish Trust, body politic in 1928. We're going to go into that creation and how it came about. We're going to talk a little bit about Moorish civics with the Illinois court systems. Grand Sheik, Moorish civics within the Illinois court systems. We're going to also be covering that subject briefly. Now, Grand Sheik, let's go into who are the Moors. We understand the Moorish Americans are the descendants of Moroccans born here in America. Indeed, we are Moors. Can you go into that briefly, Grand Sheik, please?
Islam, according to all true and divine records, according to the human race, there is no such thing as Negroes, colored folks, black people, Ethiopians. When we talk about the secret or the great Masonic secret, what our people need to understand is that you who refer to yourself as so-called black, Negroes, colored, African Americans, Coon, Shine, Afro American, whatever you decide to call yourself next week, you are the big secret, you are the great secret, you are the hub that everything is connected to. The Moors are those who are indigenous to this land. Now, we were given this information in the public school system about the Indian being, or the Native American.
And that cherry tree line, George Washington.
Well, this is all part of the mythos. Now, that's not to say that there were not some of them did resemble and have the reddish skin and the long stringy hair, but for the most part, most of the people that were here indigenous to this land look just like you and I, even darker skin. And a lot of people that identify with being so-called Negroes, colored folks, black people, Ethiopians. They will tell you in 2 seconds, oh, my grandmother was Cherokee or Blackfoot.
Absolutely.
And these are the same people, but they were not identified as Negroes, blacks, and colored. So that's why there was a cutoff. And you see, when you go into like a storyline like Roots, you'll see where they took the children and they separated them from their parents. So the traditions and the thoughts of the true history was not passed down. So this is the situation. You had the Kunta Kinte to Toby syndrome.
And the whole story was built on trying to get this young man to denounce his true name, take on another name, just like that situation with They Live, how this man nearly beat his friend to death to get him just to see the truth. And after beating him nearly to death, I'm sure they both had to go to the emergency room once he put the glasses on and he discovered this whole new different world. And now he's online and he can hardly function because of the truth, which has him so caught up. And you're talking about trying to put this information into the heads of millions and millions and millions of people, knowing that the Chicago public school system is not going to assist. What can you say and what do you say, Grand Sheik, to a nation of people now that has on every level obtained wealth from entertainment, sports, to you name it?
I say that if you on the international realm, it's just like a WWF match. It's all fakery. It's set up. And behind the scenes, what you have is a situation where you have a nation of people that are supposed to represent, and we're going to get into this later on, the sovereign aspect of the other part of the peace and friendship treaty between the U.S. and Morocco. So since the parties represent, there has to be parties representative on both sides. We have seen the United States being represented properly, but what about the Moors? There has to be, both sides have to be represented properly.
We have to have balance in this situation.
With regards to how things are supposed to work within the nations of the earth. So those who are considered as Negroes, black people, colored folks, they are not truly being received and respected as a nation of people. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter how much you acquire. Money does not make the man. It is free national standards and power that makes a man in a nation. We saw a situation where Brother Bill Cosby accepted to, and he is
megastar.
Right, and he's most noteworthy for having plenty of finance.
Yes, he is. And all he wanted to do was purchase a team.
No, he wanted to purchase a media outlet.
A media outlet, which is what's needed for our people so greatly. And this man, not only did he lose,
and this is, and because, so forget the fact that he had attained such a high status where he's a household name. The fact is that he had reached a level where he could, a ceiling where he could not go past that, because we're talking about the truthful identity and those who are the gatekeepers with regards to putting certain information out. Going back to the world stage again.
1857 Dred Scott situation on this brother's head, Brother Bill Cosby. And before Brother Dick Gregory left here, he mentioned that that man, as wealthy and rich as he is, they took his son from him. Dick Gregory was not afraid to mention it. They took his son. We have a lot of great people out here that is not afraid to stand up and speak the truth. Our sister, brother, may he rest in peace, Ashe to Dick Gregory, because he spoke truth fearlessly. And also our sister, the ISIS paper, Dr. Cress Welsing, she also spoke truth, the keys to the colors. She talked about how the fears of this white supremacy is so petrified. They are so petrified of the fact that we are who we are, that they will do anything to keep the truth and to block us, but not to step away from the fact that even so, Bill Cosby's name was dragged through the mud, and no one, as honorable as this man is, stood up. Well, I'm not going to say no one. He did have people to stand up. The sister from the show, she stood up, and a lot of people felt him. But because we are all Moors, even though we are in our respective positions of wealth, We're supposed to come to one another's rescue because that Holy Covenant said, if your brother is in trouble, assist him. So everyone out there in Hollywood that knows that Bill Cosby is a great man, he's a man of honor, he's a man standing up for truth, the brother should have had a whole lot of support in assisting Dick
Well, let's
Gregory.
get back to the secret, the big
Bill
secret.
Cosby, Dick Gregory,
Most of our
may he
people
rest in peace.
who are
He
notable.
lost his son
Hold
as a
on,
result
let's
of
get
that.
back to the subject matter, Sheikah.
The subject matter.
The
Let's
subject
not get
matter
away from
goes
the
back
subject
to
matter.
the secret that our people are being, the notion that our people are not Moors or they don't know that they're Moors. Those people that are famous, most of these people are aware of the fact that we are Moors.
Oh,
okay?
yeah,
Your Jesse
in fact.
Jacksons, your Farrakhan's, and
Well, they made
your,
the decision.
Al Sharptons,
Well, they do
and
say so-called black
people that
now.
are
Give them
notable,
credit where credit
people
is due.
who have,
But we need you to come with the
people
truth
who are
and support
of
the
note
people now.
have this information.
Yes,
and
they
this
do.
is an information that is known by certain adepts within the realm of Freemasonry. So they are aware of the true identity of us as a people. And this is also part of the reason why they wear the fez in secrecy, you know, the Shriners and what have you.
Well, National
Many of
Treasures
these
is a
people,
movie.
hold on, let
and
me
a-
finish. Let me get to the point.
Go
Many
right
of
ahead.
these people,
Pardon me.
these Europeans, are sitting in our position, our seats as proxy, wearing fezzes with rhinestones on it. And the reason why they're able to wear that fez is because they've been given certain secrets to hold as proxy, but only as long as we maintain a certain ignorance. But now we're coming out of a long slumbering sleep. So this is why the identity becomes so much of an issue. But you were going back to let's get back to the point.
Okay, who is Noble Jew Ali? Because
Islam.
right now we understand that Prophet Noble Jew Ali is the founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America as a body politic, and as such is one of the founding fathers. Okay, let's understand who the real founding fathers are, and let's give them their credit. Okay,
Islam.
because Marcus Garvey being another founding father of our Moorish nation. And we say founding father as I open up the floor to the Grand Sheikh to express founding father, because we do understand that we do have other founding fathers, but you can only be a founding father of your nation. You understand, and we understand
Islam.
how to use that term.
The Prophet Noble Jew Ali, the love thought made manifest, is the day star from on high, who was brought to teach us the truth about our nationality and birthrights, also to
What makes
restore.
him a founding father?
Well,
Which
the
what makes
fact
him
that we had to really literally be put back on the map. As Moorish Americans, this is a term that does not exist until the advent of the Prophet Noble Jew Ali. So this is part of the reason why the Prophet Noble Jew Ali made statements like it is with him being at the head, I'm paraphrasing, that we would be recognized. And he is also putting in work. He is also still issuing charters. So
And that is a charter.
when you
and
look up
that's proof.
properly what it is, and then according to research, study, and investigation, you will see that only he has the authority to issue charters. And it would have to be something that was signed by him. So basically, the Prophet Noble Jew Ali he represents the sovereign aspect of our nation. And he was also recognized as the Islamic prince at the Pan American Conference in Havana, Cuba, where he addressed the assemblage of the peoples and presenting the true and divine records, according to all true and divine records, that there is no Negroes, colored folks, black people, according to the human race. And the fact that the title to it, the vast estate, had been claimed, and the only thing that makes, well, not the only thing, but one of the things that makes a government solvent as well as sovereign is having access to the land. So we have to understand part of the provisions that were left for us within the birthrights is having access
to the land.
To the land.
And this
so
gives
that
us
is a
that
certificate
access.
of, no, well, see, we have
This
to understand
title.
properly what that is. That is a certificate of title to our title
Absolutely.
deed, which is
The
found
title deed is in chapter
within-
47.
Exactly.
And
within
both of
chapter
these together
47.
is what gives us title to the land, and this is what makes us have the sovereignty that we possess as a nation of people, which is what was exercised long before any of us was born. 1928. This is the reason this man was sent, our holy and divine prophet, with this information. This is one of the greatest reasons he was sent. This is the reason I joined the Moorish Science Temple of America. This is the birthright. This is the vast estate
let's be clear,
that was given to the Moors.
Because when you joined, you were not aware of the fact
well, I was not aware of this,
so
of course.
Let us be clear, but it was the holy zeal.
This is nation pride.
This is the
pride.
It was holy
that gave me that zeal
that caused you to join the Moorish Science Temple of America.
And cling to the principles, because this here is part of the nation pride.
That represents a tangible
knowledge.
Asset to what has been left and entrusted to us as a
as
nation
a vast
of people.
estate. Absolutely.
So
what is the Moorish Science Temple of America? What is the Moorish Science Temple of America? And according to the rules and usages of such Moorish Science Temple of America
is a body
this is
politic
a religious corporate.
A religious corporate body politic
set up
as
a
operate
constitutional theocratic monarchy for the organization and nationalization of the Moorish people. In addition to that, Grand Sheik, you can also discuss what else the Moorish Science Temple of America does, because it nationalizes our people. If you refer to yourself as Negro, Black, Colored, or African American, the Moorish Science Temple of America has been set up to return you your nationality, which is in fact Moorish American Muslim. We refer to ourselves as Moorish American. We are Moorish Muslims here in North America, and make no mistake, this is the present Moroccan Empire. We want to talk about now, Grand Sheik, what are the birthrights of the Moorish Americans, because you have, not only did the Prophet come to return us our vast estate, which includes other Muslims, and I'll be reading their names before the show is over. We also was returning our birthrights.
The birthrights, Islam, Sheik, is the birthrights pertain to accessing the land.
Free access to the land and all of its uses and resources as a matter of right by virtue of being Moorish, as well as being indigenous to the Americas.
Well, let's be clear, when we deal with the tangible assets, the Constitution for the United States of America makes a reference to inalienable rights. So those correspond to rights that cannot be transferred, bought, or sold away.
Okay.
And this is part of the reason why the Prophet Noble Drew Ali made a reference to the Constitution for the United States of America being one of the greatest documents of all time. Because the Constitution was created to be a barrier to government. It was set up to be a permissive document to corporations and entities that had been receiving permission. So we have to understand, like, one of the individuals that they claim is a founding father, George Washington, he was actually listed on the record as paying tribute to the Sultan bin Abdullah at that time, Sultan bin Abdullah.
So it's possible. Is it possible to pay tribute and be a founding father?
Well,
pay taxes?
What I'm saying is it would be impossible for him to be a founding father proper, because he comes from Europe or England.
That makes
British
a
property.
lot of sense, a heavenly lot of sense.
So,
I mean, how does being Moorish give you access to this land?
Well, you know, being indigenous means that you come with the land.
Okay,
so there's a
why
covenant.
Are so many of the people poor? I'm sure
it's
they're
a legacy.
probably
It's
wondering.
a birthright. Well, this is how you access the birthrights, through having a proper identity that you are who you are. Because see, when we transferred rights to property, and that wasn't the way we dealt with things as far as how real
the
estate
mortgage
would transfer
schemes that's
over.
going on here in
There
North
was
America.
no mortgages.
That's a whole new different scheme.
The concept of land usage is totally different with regards to how we were interfaced with the earth. This is part of the reason why when they came over here, there were no boundaries set up for parcels of land per se. You understand?
And yet, it's
you
like
had
they have tricked us, and we
but
gave them permission through that peace and friendship treaty to come in, and now here we are on the end paying you for a mortgage for 30 years
we
when
fell
we know our
asleep.
signature
We fell
pays
asleep.
for the property
As it
up
says
front.
in our lesson, it says, due to the
Yes, we did
sin and
fell asleep.
disobedience, and straying
Dishonoring
after
our
strange
parents.
gods of Europe. Exactly.
So we fell asleep. So
through
we're
the
paying today
covenant,
for that. Okay, so now we've come of age and we understand in this administration and we're before the courts. I think it's only fair that the people of the world know, from the prisoner to the president, all of them across the board, that we are of age and we understand and we're here to receive our land back. And this is, I welcome all the scholars, wherever you are, whoever you are, please come out and take this document, if you are a real estate attorney, and do your diligence and realize that this is in fact what it is what it is.
Islam, it's more so to serve notice to the world that we
have returned,
have access, exactly,
and we're back,
and we have a right to the usage of the land that's been left here and that's utilized for everybody, because see, by virtue of citizenship, people have access to the land, to the government, and things of that nature.
But the game that's being played today is when we go into the courts, we're being referred to as sovereign citizens, and we need to dispel that myth, and we need to make everyone in the world, all the Moors, all of the truth seekers need to understand there's a difference between Moorish sovereignty and sovereign citizens. Now, can you go into that myth briefly? Because we need to dispel that myth now in the court systems and wherever people are thinking and mixing this up, because what it causes is open seasons on the true citizens of this land. The Moorish sovereignty
Let's deal with practicality first.
Thank you very
First
much.
of all, Moors as a nation, we have right to sovereignty and autonomy just like any other nation.
Without discrimination, religious discrimination.
Exactly. So what has occurred is various tactics, COINTELPRO, whatever, have attempted to muddy
discriminate
up the
against us through the
issues
media
with regards to individuals that have been referred to as sovereign citizens. And these are, a lot of these individuals, or most of them, come from a European descent. And this is a rebellious attitude towards law and order. So they have taken the notion that they'll use the Constitution, or that the Constitution
does
gives
not
them
apply to them?
license. No, that the Constitution gives them license to be sovereigns, or there's an ideology that the Constitution acknowledges so-called free white persons as sovereign individuals.
And we're sovereignty coming with the land, and
But,
that's a total different thing.
Let me explain. We represent the people who originally gave them the authorization to operate as a government, as
so
a
we let them in on our
form
land,
of
and
government.
now they're turned on us, calling us sovereign citizens.
No, see, here's
These
the
are the
thing.
same people that we let in.
Here's the thing. The trick has been utilized as a tool of propaganda. This is why the prophet spoke about having our media and destroying an annual avalanche of lies.
Well, let's talk about the law of nations and the peace and friendship treaty, because that's going to tie into it, between Morocco and the United States of 1836. Because that Morocco Treaty of 1836, that peace and friendship treaty still stands between Morocco and the United States of America. And we are here per our ancestors. We are Moroccans, okay? Descendants of Moroccans. So that makes us Moroccans. We're born in America. So how dare you call us sovereign citizens when we come with the land and we have sovereignty. So this needs to be explained to the courts here in North America so that they can respect the Moors, the true people which are indigenous to this land, which gave them permission. The Peace and Friendship Treaty between Morocco and the United States of 1836 still being enforced, and the rights of indigenous people who are the parties to the still existing contract. Between the two nations, the treaty. Let's talk about that treaty, Grand Sheik.
Well, Islam, as I stated
Creation of the
before,
Moorish Trust and
is that-
Body Politic in 1928 we'll be discussing next. Let's talk about that treaty briefly, please.
as I stated before, the Peace and Friendship Treaty is what gave permission to the European corporations that were set up to do business. They were never given.
British,
They were not given.
French,
They
German,
were not given permission
Irish.
to. They were not given permission to have any access to land or land grants. Okay, so
how is it
we
in
have to be clear.
2017 they have so much land and we're being denied our rights to our property here in the present Moroccan Empire? And the treaty, is the treaty still being acknowledged?
Because according to the law of nations, it is a responsibility for each and every nation to represent and worship under their own vine and fig tree. There are so many of our people that are sleeping and that are given aid and abeyance to those who have been smiling in their faces and stabbing them in the backs for all intents and purposes. It becomes an issue, a suffrage issue, where you have our people that have been giving their support and their undying loyalty to parties like the Democratic Party, in some cases the Republican Party. The Democratic Party is one of the worst examples of how our people have given to this party and kowtowed to them in every way, and in every turn, the people that are voted into office ignore the issues, the core issues that addresses and affects the so-called Negroes, colored folks, black people. And so what occurs is you have this great big secret that's being held in abeyance, and the rest of the world are to believe that we are operating and we are Moors, but yet the infrastructure, when you look at it, nothing could be further from the truth, because most of the people have fallen away from the truth as far as who they are and where they come from, and no support is being given to the true government that represents the Moors and who they truly are, because the idea is that, oh, those are not real Moors, that's just some Masonic group. You know, they're hiding out somewhere. They're not out and amongst the affairs of men. They're not taking their place amongst the affairs of men. Listen, when we were in control and we ruled and we were sailing 7 seas of the world and feeding the world, we had the ability to affect things and to, if, in other words, if you didn't pay taxes, then you didn't eat, you see? So a lot of what we're going through is a result of karmic activity, what results to us straying after strange gods who we knew nothing of. So we all didn't go to sleep at the same time. So we're all not going to wake up at the same time. So it becomes an issue. In order for us to get back to our Moorish sovereignty, our people have to become aware of what it actually is and where it actually lies and what it represents for us.
Which brings us to
So
more civics.
let me go into something so that I can explain where we actually find sovereignty within our literature, so that people can be clear for once and for all.
Because,
this is the
that's
divine
necessary.
instructions from the Holy Prophet, the Holy Koran, the Moorish Science Temple of America. This is chapter 29, Magistrate and Subject. Now, check this out. This is to refute all and disclaim all of the naysayers and the propaganda. And it states, O thou, the favorite of heaven, whom the sons of men, thy equals, have agreed to raise to sovereign power and set as a ruler over themselves, consider the ends and the importance of their trust, far more than the dignity and height of thy station. And when you go into our keys, what's the name of our ruler? Key 34, Sultan. So we have to understand that the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, part of the legacy in the will and testament of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali is for us to stand up and take that position amongst the affairs of man, and also assume the position as the Moors on that side of the treaty.
Islam. I want to say thank you so much for that, Grand Sheikh, and I wish it could stop and cease and desist from referring to us as sovereign citizens. It is a disrespect to us as a nation of people. It is a dishonor to our ancestors, and it should not take place, and we are working on that as an administrative. One of the jobs of our administration is to take it as far as we need to take it so it can be corrected in the court systems throughout the state first, and then take it to the UN, which is where things are discussed when it comes to religious discrimination to a nation of people.
Well, it could be the international realm. It could
has
be
to
the
be the
Organization of
international
American States.
It
It
has to
could be the
go
United
there.
Nations, but whatever realm is going to be international.
It
Islam.
has to be international because this has to cease and desist. Now, Moorish civics within the Illinois court system is where we are today. People need to understand and realize that we are the people, and the people have spoken. It is time to free the people. It is time to free the resources of the people so that we can get back to the trade and transportation, which is why the River Nile was dredged in the beginning. We are sending a lifeline out to all of our Moorish kindred that has been spoken of in chapter 48.
Chapter 45.
45. Can you bring that up, please? Because now is the time for all of our people in the entertainment realm, all of the rich and wealthy that refer to themselves by names that allude to slavery, such as Negro, black, color, African American. It's okay if you didn't know. It's okay if you are rejecting. It's okay if you don't believe. What's time now is to save the babies. It is time to save the babies. It's time to look at the world today.
Islam, the divine instructions from the Holy Prophet. This is chapter 45.
Can you call out to the names of the people that we're reaching out in the spirit of love for? Because now it's the time to stand and to bring forth the spirit of truth upon the earth.
Islam.
While he's working on that, I just want to say to all of our entertainers, I've never been one to point a finger because, as you know, when you point a finger, you have three pointed back at you. So I have practiced on looking into the mirror. I'd like to say to all of you out there who have been blessed with prosperity, give thanks because you don't know what's going to be going on tomorrow. Give thanks because your people have found it in their hearts to uplift you and put you up front. And remember, if it's one thing I can say, remember from whence you came. Because we all were not born with silver spoons in our mouth. And now it's time for the famous, the wealthy to support the youth, support the brother that's out there fighting, brother Gabriel, what is that young brother? I understand that already. I just want to be clear. We have brothers standing up in sports. We have brothers standing up in music. We have brothers that are standing up on the chemistry level, fighting to tell our people that they're putting things in the water. We need to unite and take a stand so that we can bring forth to our people what they need, which is food. And as you know, food can come in many forms. I'd like to say thank you, Islam brother, to all of the people out there in TV land that are standing up in the medical fields, in the social media fields, all of our youth that has awakened, and those so-called leaders, which I don't have to call your names, you know who you are. It is time to give the nations of the earth the truth. Yes, we need to be honest and truthful with ourselves because at the end of the day, when the water rises and when that fire comes, we are going to be running to safety, and only the great honorable forces that have put us in this position to save ourselves is going to be the only one we can call on. Call him Jehovah, call him Yahweh, call him Allah, call him what you like, but call him. Yes, sir?
We were supposed to be dealing with the Illinois court system.
Yes, well, let's talk about it, brother. Because that's the thing
so
that has to be done.
So the constitutional principles that the people need and understand, and this is why the prophet said that the Constitution is one of the greatest documents of all time. What's going to protect the people within the Illinois court system is understanding the Constitution and understanding their status as it relates to how to operate within the court system.
Yes, of course it's going to save them.
And also putting the judicial system on notice.
The crooked system,
and
right, Grand Sheik?
Islam, and understanding
because we're in the
laws,
system, and we understand you can walk into the system,
and the
judges will call you what?
Islam.
Walking
this
in.
is why the prophet
Sovereign.
said law governs all events.
Yes, it does.
So we have to understand what law governs all events.
What law? Tell the people what law governs it.
The law that governs this event is the United States Constitution, because the Constitution puts them on notice and gives them restrictions. The Constitution was put in place to put restrictions on the government.
How much restriction has it put on them today?
Well, lack of
whereas
knowledge,
our policy,
the
whereas
lack
our
of knowledge
finances are
of
being
our people
held
has
back.
allowed the people who have been crooks and who have not been upholding the oaths of office of the Constitution to run rampant.
Explain to the people
the trust has
what
been violated
the
because
19th ruling is, Grand Sheik, while you're on it. Explain to them what the courts have done to the 19th ruling as we have been fighting, because our people don't know who we are. They don't know that we're in those courts battling. They don't know it's an axe fight. Explain to them the ruling, Grand Sheik, please. Let the people know how much we need them, and let them know the ruling that was handed down on the 19th of September that broke the Roman seal, even though they say, you people are who you are, but we're denying you everything. Please give it to the people, Grand Sheik.
Well, we'll give it to the people just like this. It's an understanding the fact that you have people that have taken an oath to uphold the Constitution.
Yes,
According
sir.
to the laws of nation, it is your responsibility as a nation to step up to the plate and make sure you receive your just due. You can't depend on some foreigners to give you what's your just due.
Now, what has
When
the
you
foreigners
are,
do?
hold
What did
on.
the foreigners do,
When
Grand
you-
Sheik, on the 19th ruling? Explain to the people.
Well,
Let
what
the
you have
masses
is
know.
you have a situation where you have statutory rulings. See, you have the Constitution on one hand and you have statutes on the other hand. Okay? On one hand, you have a situation where they have taken an oath to uphold the Constitution.
And
but
are
the
they-
Constitution is not being
Are they
utilized.
upholding the Constitution, Grand
is
Sheik?
not being upheld.
Are the courts
The
of this-
courts are not upholding the
Thank you.
Constitution for the United
They
States
are
of
not
America.
upholding the
What they're
Constitution.
doing is they're upholding statutes. They're upholding corporate charters
Yes,
that
they
have
are.
nothing to
Yes,
do
they are.
with the oath of office that they took to uphold. This is why you don't have any remedies coming from these courts, because they're beholden to the statutes. They took an oath to uphold the Constitution, but they're not being beholden to that
Now,
Constitution.
how are you going to fight a government that's holding up statues, and then when you come in to fight, they're telling you to get an attorney?
Well, they're not
which is gonna be
government.
an
If they're
agreement to
not
them.
upholding those statutes, they're not government, and there has to be accountability
Okay, tell the
where
people.
there's responsibility.
What do
So,
you do?
No, man knows not by being told. What you have to do is you have to research, study,
Inform
and
the
investigate.
people.
Research, study, and investigate, and understand who you are, and the fact that when the Constitution makes a reference to the people, it is you that it's referring to. And so you have to step up and you have to do your part to represent and to give support to the true government, because if you don't, you're going to continue to receive more of the same.
What is the ruling? What is the ruling when the principles, when the Constitution has been put on the back burner and you have statutes? What did the statutes say to the Moors, this administration, on the 19th? What did the ruling say, Grand Sheik?
The statutes and the rulings are
Opinion, order.
well, the statutes
Ruling,
and the ruling.
opinion, and order
First of
handed
all,
down.
let us understand that the opinion is just that. It's
It's an
someone's opinion.
Absolutely.
So the order has to be based on the facts. What had to be done is we had to put in the final order for that case and had to put the court on notice and make sure that the court is aware of whose court it actually is, because it's the people's court. It's the
Absolutely.
people that give the
Absolutely.
authorization
We're
to
aware
these
of that.
public officials to
Yes,
do
we're
what they
aware of
do
that.
in accordance to
Yes.
the oath of office that they took to uphold the Constitution, which is why it's the greatest documents of all time. But if you are not
So-
aware of the power and authority that it gives you, then
Grand Sheik.
it has no
So
effect or
the
authority
ruling,
at all.
Order and opinion was denied. We were denied because of the policies. So the foreign
No,
ruling had
that
to
is
go in.
incorrect, Sheik.
The foreign
There is
ruling had
no,
to go
there
in.
was no denial. There was a presentation of the court's opinion.
That was
There
an
was no
opinion.
denial
what
because
is
the
the
court
opinion?
was not in authority to deny anything, because the Constitution gives
Absolutely.
it forbids the state to have the power to have any effect on the obligation of contracts. What we're talking about is a contract between indigenous people that cannot be affected by statutes, that receives its authority from the very same people that gave it authority in the first place to operate.
So in other words, without the support of our nation of people, there is no way we can move forward because of the statutes that are being put up in front of the Constitution, which is illegal and is very unlawful. So therefore, we were forced to put forth a foreign judgment. And I just like to say, and give thanks to everyone that's out there seeking truth, that don't have an inkling of a clue that this body, who is fighting for you in the courts, this particular body is fighting for you. This administration is standing up in a court here in Illinois that is using statutes, yes, statutes, when the Constitution has been put here, which is one of the greatest documents of all time. And the Prophet Noble Jew Ali also stated that. I'd like to thank you all for joining us. And I'd like to say to the Grand Sheikh, thank you for being strong. I'd like to say to all the strong men and women out there, thank you for creating strong babies so that we can exist. Without you and your support, nothing can be done. Because understand, the Moorish Temple of America had a convention in 1928. And what made that a convention great was that Moors from all of the states that had temple came together under one roof to pay homage in Mecca, AKA Chicago, Illinois, which is where our Mecca is, which is where our Hajj will begin. So we are planning 2018 Moorish Science Temple of America Convention, because this is the time. We're calling on all the delegates to come from all the different states that we have, that's been mentioned also in chapter 45. We are asking for all the Moors here in the metropolitan Chicago area and all the states, wherever you are and whoever you are. Please contact us. Contact us, moorishhomeoffice@gmail.com, moorishlawservices@gmail.com. Don't wait until it's too late, because now is the time to unite. And to all of our brothers and sisters that are taking a stand, whoever you are and whatever you are, may the forces of the ancestors be with you. A shade to all of our leaders. I'm talking about going all the way back as far as you can remember into Egypt, because we have to come from somewhere. Things don't manifest from nothing. We say amen all the time, not knowing that Amen Ra.
Islam, the Sheikh is Islam. Quite
Islam.
honestly, to be quite honest with the people,
Yes.
you were putting it very lightly, because the divine warning was issued. And if the nations of the world don't assist us in what we're doing, then the wrath is going to come. And the worst is yet to come.
Well, we've
you're
sent
talking
our
about
emails
earthquakes,
out,
you're talking about
to
diseases,
Turkey, to
you're talking
India,
about
to
floods,
Africa. We
etc.
sent them out,
So
to
if the
China,
people,
to
so
Japan,
if the people want to be
Saudi
hard-headed,
Arabia,
if the people want to be
we're reaching out to all of our
stiff-necked,
people wherever you are, because
starting
we
with
need you,
our
we need
own
you now.
people,
we
if
need
you
the
want to
assistance
continue,
of other nations.
if you want to continue to not listen, because our people have a tendency to be stiff-necked and hard-headed. You have a lot of our people that are, most of our people who are supposed to be supportive of this administration, they are doing things backwards. You know, they're holding the convention during September instead of October. So if you want to continue to not be compliant with the laws, and you want to continue to be stiff-necked and hard-headed, then time is going to truly tell.
Yeah, we want to send some love out there to our Moorish families that are having conventions, that did hear the truth, and they are having conventions in this month. And this is the month to have the convention in as well. And when this goes out in the air, I'm sure it'll be down the line in November sometime. But for those Facebook fans, those YouTube fans, where we'll be viewing this in the same day, then I want to send love out to our Moorish American Muslim family that's celebrating our Prophet Noble Jew Ali. We are supposed to be one family because we are one family. And my heart of love go out to all of those Moors celebrating the true convention, which is October the 15th to the 20th. I love you all with a love that will never die. We are constantly out here uplifting our people in every way that we can, letting them know you are a part of a royal family of Moors. You are Moorish Muslims, and you have a great duty to help uplift fallen humanity. Let no one tell you different. Grab a child, put your arms around them, love them, tell them they are great. Don't forget to love yourself. Look in that mirror and realize that you're here to do a great job. And for all of our great people out there who have been blessed early in all the fields of entertainment, food, medical industries, for all of you out there that are, writing, for all you have the media on your side, for all of the chemists out there, for all of our students out there that's preparing to come out here, uplift the world, please proclaim your nationality. Please take the time out to go to a library, Google some information, and know that something is going wrong in this planet. The water is coming. The fire is already here. Yeah, they call it forest fires, but you remember Sodom and Gomorrah. Don't forget, the truth don't change. It's not going to pass away. We are paying every day. For what? For what? Look in the mirror and realize that hell is a state of mind, just like heaven. And you can't get away from this. There's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. So let's love. We only got a day. I love you all with a love that will never die. Love yourselves. And remember, we are one. A lot of people came to do it. I can imagine Harriet Tubman's journey. You understand, a woman called Moses, carrying those people back and forth. I can only imagine what that sister have to do. And look, I don't want to have to fight my brothers and sisters to put those glasses on so they can see and we can live as a nation of people. Look so that you can realize and resurrect.
Check
and
that
understand.
movie out. They Live. That's a good movie.
Please check out They Live. Please
Keith
look out
David, Roddy Rod Piper.
Please look at the Black Knight. Look at, now we do have Martin Lawrence and the Black Knight. Look at Robin Hood, you know.
Prince of Thieves with
Morgan Freeman. Yeah, and please look at the National Treasure 1 and 2 because they talk about those wealth. Who do you think your forefathers are in Egypt? Where do you think that went, that treasures? You can circulate those treasures to any state, any island, any country you want. But at the end of the day, we are the heirs to that
the true treasure.
Trust.
DNA.
And we are the ones that got that DNA. And it's in the DNA. And I want to give thanks to our conscious rappers out there that know the truth. Don't forget, truth can come in any form. You understand? And even our brothers and sisters that's in those churches, we love you Moors, you understand? And when you wake up, because a lot of our Moors are waking up every day, come on home. Come on home to your nationality because you have your own. Come on home to this body politic because we still have to put our schools up, our churches up. And we have the power to have our own NBA, MBA, and any other thing we want because we are the power that flows. We make it go. I want to say a shade to our sister, Dr. Frances Cress Wilson, because I need all of our children to read that book that sister wrote. Okay, Keys to the Color, the ISIS papers. Okay, you can start right there. And say to Dick Gregory, look at all that man tapes so he can help wake you up, because we don't have too many people that's putting out that good truth. But we do know for sure.
No, I'm not Saudi Arabian American, but I know a lot of Jordanian